Hey everyone. So, anyway, the day that I died, I felt really odd that morning. I don't even know how to explain the weirdness that I felt, but like something went right. And I almost died twice on the way to the hospital. I mean, dentist. But I would have been mangled probably because I would have had 2 car accidents just on the way to the dentist that day. And I always asked that if I was going to die, to let me die in my sleep. Well, what better way than under anesthesia, right? Um, anyway, I'm sorry I had to move that. I'm trying to straighten that up. So, anyway, you do have an uncanny feeling. People say you know when you're going to die. And that's kind of true, but you don't know what the feeling is. I would now know if I felt it again, and I don't know if it happens the same way every time or what. Lone had put a link under our comments on the last video. Y'all click on that because I agree with that guy. I do believe that there is some flaws in the way some religions believe. A lot of it was scrolls, a lot of it was left out, some of it maybe not found, I don't know. But I do know that your spirit doesn't stay in your body in a casket in the ground. I do know that. Your spirit leaves your body when you die. I know that for a fact. Alright, now, so click on that link, because I do agree with that guy on some things. But anyway, earlier in my life, I don't know why this phone keeps changing color. It gets lighter and then darker. But earlier on in my life, well, say earlier on, about, I don't know, 15, it was before I got pregnant for my first daughter. I told you in a previous video that her father was pretty much a drug addict. Well, anyway, we was at his parents' condominium up at Lake George. I told you his parents were both chiropractors. And we had some friends over. And I never really did drugs. But they had speed. Well, anyway, I had taken way more than what. Because, like I said, I didn't have experience with drugs. Anyway, I went upstairs to the bedroom where I laid on the bed, and in the bedroom they had these big glass windows. You could see the entire outside. I mean, the whole wall was windows. Anyway, so I was laying there, and all of a sudden I see what I believe to be Jesus with 2 angels, one on each side, but lower down from him. And he was in a robe. And it was just so angelical, so beautiful. Now, speed's not a hallucinogenic. So, I don't believe I was hallucinating. But at that time, I felt like I couldn't breathe. So I called my oldest daughter's father, who I was with, and he was downstairs. And anyway, he rushed me to the emergency room. They said I was hyperventilating, and they gave me a Valium. And thank God it reversed it. I didn't die that day. But anyway, let's get to the real deal here. How many of you have had experiences after a loved one passed, or sometimes even prior to the loved one passing. I, for one, have. I've had numerous. One was when my mother passed. And I was so tired, y'all. I had 5 small children. Let me smoke this. Get a sip of coffee. And I was taking care of my mom. 4 days prior, well, let's see. It was the 4th of July. So yeah, she passed on the 8th. So it was the 4th of July or the 5th of July that she went to the hospital. And she passed on July 8th. Well, I wasn't going to go to the hospital because I was just so wore out. Well, all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, I said to my husband, we have to go to the hospital. So we raced to the hospital. Well, when I walked into the room, before walking into the room, I felt ice cold. The curtain was pulled in between the lady who was in the first bed and my mother. And I asked her, had you heard anything out of her? And she said, not since she had her 6 o'clock pain medicine. Y'all, I knew she was gone before I ever opened that curtain and went around. How long she was there gone for, I don't know. I think I got there like, I don't know, between 6:30 and 7. And nobody knew she was gone. Nobody. The nurses didn't know, doctor, nobody. So anyway, they took me out of the room, and me and some other family members went down, and we stood outside the elevators in like a circle. I could see the elevator doors. And I felt a hand touch my shoulder. And I turned and I looked at, because I thought, another family member was maybe consoling me or something. So I turned and I looked, and there was no one there. So I knew that was my mother. And then I've had numerous other experiences the same way, where I woke up out of a sound sleep, crying and bawling, to get a phone call that my grandmother had passed away. Another guy, Vinny, who passed away, that had cerebral palsy. Again, I woke up in the middle of the night, heard the door downstairs shut, ran down the stairs. It was his mother coming in, and the father had went to the hospital. It was taking turns. Shortly after I flew downstairs, the phone rang. And it was her husband telling her that their son had passed. Again, I've gotten phone call where there was nothing but dead air on one end. I've smelled flowers. And I've smelled flowers, numerous times. Let's see. Cologne. When my daughter was in the hospital, and she was under, I felt her get in the bed with me. Now, she wasn't dead yet, but I do think she was in between. Because I felt her get in the bed with me. And she was hollering for help. And I knew then that she didn't want to live like that. So I went to the hospital. After my daughter passed, I heard someone say, Mama, mama. And I thought that it was my other daughter, the youngest one, that always stayed with me. And she was all the way in the other end of the house. So I got up and I walked in there and I said, "Did you call me?" And she said, "No." So that was another experience I had. Y'all, there has been so many. My mother, she wore Emerald. I don't know if y'all remember that cologne, but that was her favorite. And every now and then I would smell that. Just different times, different things would happen to let me know that they were there. And it was usually, right after death, or within at least no more than a week after death, if that. And then, nothing except for a smell here and there every now and then. Now I have had stuff fall in other rooms and stuff, but I wouldn't say that was a family member. You can kind of tell the difference. The Bible calls them angels and demons. I say that there's some spirits that have unsettled business and they linger. I'm going to tell you the story about my mother's house. I believe that was a demon and it was a poltergeist. And I'm not saying that there weren't regular spirits there too, because I think there was, but yeah, her house was badly haunted. So I know that some of you out there have had these experiences. Maybe you paid attention to them, and maybe you didn't. I'm trying to see what this is on. I want to say this is on, I don't know, 12 minutes now. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? So, I think next, I'm going to tell the story of my mother's house and stories of other things that has happened to me, that I know that there are still spirits that roam the earth, or you can call them angels, call them demons, call them whatever. But I do know that they're there, and they do roam. All right, take care for now.